Today we get another great question from a listener who picked up on Aubrey's use of the word of in another episode. Today, find out the nuances of using the word of in English and why it matters. Listen in today.
Hey, Lindsay, how are you?
Hey, Michelle. I'm doing really well. How about you?
I'm good. So, what kinds of things? Well, sorry, I just messed up. I messed it up right from the start, guys. Okay, I have to start this over. Take two. Okay, all right. What things do you kind of look for when searching for an apartment?
Oh my gosh. For me, when I look for an apartment, it's all about location. Michelle, I want to be near a coffee shop. I want to be near some restaurants, maybe some bars, just to enjoy, go out, breweries. I want to be near a park. It's all about location.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, two of the things I look for are the ability to walk around, the neighborhood, and the price.
Yes. Good stuff. Oh, it's funny how we started that wrong, but we started it natural too, right? So you said, what kinds of things do you look for? And that construction could be a completely different episode.
Right. Well, we're going to touch on it a little bit today, I think, but we're going to answer a really good listener question today from Chuck. Okay. And so we are going to answer this question. It goes along with what we were just saying. So, Lindsay, why don't we get into the question?
All right. So this is from Chuck. I'm writing over here from Taiwan. It's been 3.5 years listening to All Ears English.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That is amazing.
That's amazing.
And that's amazing that time has just flown without noticing it. Wow, Chuck. Thank you for listening to All Ears English for so long. That is incredible. That is so good. We're happy to have you. A question just coming up. I have a question that's just come up and I would like to bring it up. When reading the transcripts for episode 1380, a thorough answer, he saw an answer from based on Aubrey's curiosity about what key pieces of your goal to expand All Ears English. And he said that you make it succinct in the end by saying, those are the kinds of those are kind of the three things that I look for. Or three of the things. I'm wondering what's the nuance difference between the three things and three of the things, and when to use one in a more distinct way over the other in a certain situation. Woo! A good question, Chuck. And then he says, P.S. I know the vital piece affecting the meaning of the sentence is of, and that is the puzzle I've been puzzled for quite a while and eager to unpuzzle, even master it. Very creative use of that word. I'm grateful for what you've made through these years. It's amazing. I'm honored to be a part of it. Hope there's no end to this wonderful thing. Aww. I hope so too. That's awesome. How good. That's great.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Chuck, for that question. Yeah. It's a really good one. So we're going to get into it in a second. But, before we get started, we did episode 628. Mm-hmm. Which is how to use kind of, sort of, and pretty much in English. So some of what we talk today might be in that episode a little bit. So definitely listen to that to get more from that topic.
Okay, good. And again, Chuck mentioned that he found this question based on reading the transcripts. So guys, if you want to be able to read the transcripts too, you can go over to allearsenglish.com/subscribe and get those delivered to you every Monday by email. Okay. Very
awesome. Cool. Yeah, because I don't know if Chuck, if he hadn't been reading the transcripts, he may not have caught that. Right? Yeah. So that's why it's so essential to have the transcripts, guys. It's going to help a lot. It's going to really, really up your learning. It's going to up your speaking. So it's going to be great. So yeah. Okay. So let's jump into it, Lindsay. So again, it sounds like this is something Aubrey said. So she must have said, those are kind of the three things that I look for, or three of the things.
Okay.
All right. Very interesting.
Okay, so let's just clarify for a second what exactly because I got a little bit confused with that question. And our listeners might have. So what do we want to show our listeners here today? Like, what are we going to teach them? Just to be really clear.
Right. So the question was about the use of the word of.
Okay.
Right?
Of. Mm-hmm.
So he said, he's puzzled about the use of the word of. Okay. And he's wondering what's the difference between saying the three things and three of the things.
Okay. All right. That's really clear. All right. Let's keep going. I got it now.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. So we're going to unpack this. So, okay. I mean, we're talking about also just this kind of expression, kind of the three things, right? So if you say the three things, those are the three things. It's like, that's it. Right?
Yes.
These are the three things. Okay. So let's start out with that. But now let's get into this first part. Those are kind of the three things that I look for. So what does kind of mean here? Kind of mean here.
Okay. So yeah, this is kind of a separate point, right? From the three of the things or the three things, right? So, but just as a side point, so kind of just is a generalization word. It's kind of, it's kind of a filler. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of a filler word. Would you say that, Michelle? That it kind of
I mean, I think it means like about, like kind of being, of being a little bit general. And I wanted to talk about this kind of, I didn't want to leave it out because I think it is important. To put this into the episode because it was important in understanding that whole thing that Aubrey said, right? So, that's what we're going to go with for today. So, let's do an example. If I say to you, Lindsay, I kind of want a briny. Wow.
A briny.
I want a briny. Can I have a briny? Lindsay, I kind of want a brownie right now.
Yeah. So you're saying basically you're when you say it that way, it's I don't know, you are trying not to be too direct, but you're also saying this is what I want. I'm having this craving. Maybe you're a little bit embarrassed about it or something, right?
Right.
So it's a way of kind of softening what you're saying.
Right. It does kind of soften it. Haha, kind of. See, I keep on saying it. That's
so
why I want to.
You say it so much. Yeah.
Right. It does soften it. So if I say, oh yeah, kind of softens it. And it does soften it because otherwise I would say it softens it.
Yeah. I mean, why do we not say it softens it? Because we want our language to have personality.
Yeah.
We want our language to reflect our own personality. You could say it softens it, but that would be, straightforward, direct, maybe a little boring. Okay. Right. So this adds personality to what you're saying.
Right. Or another example is, this is kind of what I was looking for. So I'm imagining I'm in a store and I'm looking for like a specific colored dress for a picture I'm taking or something like that. And I might say, oh, this is kind of what I was looking for. So this is a little bit different. It's like the use here is more like it's almost.
Well, I think it's important to note the difference in intonation that could change the meaning here, Michelle, right? So if you've almost found what you're looking for, but not quite, saying this is kind of what I was looking for. Right. But if you're excited and you've basically found what you want, you would say, this is kind of what I was looking for.
Yes. Ooh. Oh my gosh, Lindsay, I'm glad you brought that up. That is a really important point because otherwise this could be getting a little confusing.
Yeah, guys. So intonation matters a lot when it comes to using kind of. So just keep that in mind throughout the episode and listen to how we use intonation. Maybe again, get those transcripts and compare our intonation for these examples. Okay.
Definitely. Or one more is, these chairs are kind of what I just bought. Or like Lindsay said, you could say, these chairs are kind of like what I just bought.
Exact. Kind of like what I just bought means you're not quite satisfied. These aren't quite going to match what I just bought. Like the picnic table I bought, right? The color's not the right match, but it's almost the right match, or it's basically the right match and you're satisfied. Right. That's a really important point.
Right. Definitely. Love it. Okay. So let's move on to the second part. So then Aubrey says, or three of the things. Okay. So this is really interesting. So of is being used to signify that these three things are a piece of what Aubrey's looking for.
Yes. This is so important because the little preposition can make a huge difference.
Oh my goodness. Right. So again, if she said these are three things I'm looking for,
or the three
things, that is more definite. Like it's over. Right. So again, she said those are kind of the three things that I look for. So the three. And it's only three out of three, right?
Exactly. But when we use of, it expands out and there could be more things, right?
Right. Exactly. So let's do an example, Lindsay. What's one example?
Okay. One of the best parts of living in New York is being near so many restaurants. So you're not saying like the best part.
Right.
You're saying there are many great parts. One of the many.
Right. Exactly. Or here's another one. 2 of my favorite books are by that author.
Or 3 of my best friends live in Indiana, but maybe you have 6 best friends.
Right. Exactly. So again, yeah,
sorry, go ahead, Michelle. No, I was just going to say, it's almost like we're imagining, like saying 3 of my 6 best friends, but you're taking that out. You're taking that part out. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, or 1 of the 10 best parts of living in New York, or 2 of my 5 favorite books, right? Yeah, that's a good point. It's like you have to imagine it more like being a fraction in a way.
Kind of. Yeah, that's the key. I like that.
Yeah. So again, guys, this kind of, we're talking about a few things today. Kind of, which is more general, right? And it depends on your intonation. Whereas, and we're also talking about adding of, right? And how that can change. So, I think that this is a really good question. We're covering a lot here, but let's go over some other uses. So, again, kind of. So if someone asks you a question, so for example, Lindsay, do you want to go to the beach?
Kind of. Right. So that means that can be a response in itself, just that much, right? Kind of. But I also want to, study today because I have an exam coming up.
Right. Exactly. So that's a good one. So then also we have kinds of or kind of, right? And that perhaps is more in the other episode. So we're just going to touch on it briefly. But, if I said we ordered 3 kinds of pizza for the party, or I love all kinds of pie, but my favorite kind of pie is apple pie.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I love all kinds of pie, but my favorite kind, singular, of pie is apple pie. Yeah, good stuff.
Definitely. And then with of, you could also use out with these. Okay. So for example, you could say 3 of the 4 students did the homework. So to show a fraction. So like we were saying before, you could even say 3 out of the 4 students did the homework.
Okay. And then of all the friends I have, you are the most honest. So again, you're looking at of all your friends, this person is the most honest. Okay.
Definitely. Okay. So awesome. So guys, in general, it's easy to get intimidated by the tiny words in English, right? The ofs, ands, right? Because I think it's because they deal a lot with grammar. So I always think of those little words as the words that are like the glue holding the rest of the words together. So they're super important, but no one ever thinks about the glue. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
You just think of the final product. So, so that's just how I think of it. So those little words can be tricky and frustrating, but we gave you some ideas today with the word of. So our advice is, think of the context. How is it being used, right? So is it 3 of my best friends, right? Or is it kind of, right? Also think of chunks, right? Like we talked about in the episode, kind of, sort of, things like that. And then what else can we do, Lindsay?
Well, we could listen. And again, listening is what you guys are doing now. Don't just listen to us, listen to other native speakers, listen to how others use it and mirror what you hear. That's the beauty of language is you can learn a lot, but just by mirroring. And that's how I learned Spanish by, being either being physically in South America and just listening a lot, or having language exchange partners in New York who spoke Spanish and just listening to them as much as I could. Right, just listen and mimic. Okay,
right?
You don't need to analyze everything. You can just say what other people are saying in a sense.
That's so true. Like nobody knows that that's what you're doing, right?
That's kind of another secret, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and just keep practicing. Try it for yourself. So